Hey there, welcome to Rise Up Namibia. My name is Metyanata, aka the Resistor of Bad and the Love of Good, hashtag dark and lovely _ walk by faith and not by sight. So, in today's video, we are going to be looking at binary division, okay? So, we have the examples on the screen. If you want to try them out before we check them out, feel free to pause the video and try them out on a piece of paper or so. But what I recommend is that you actually follow through all examples before you try them out. Because if you take a look in A and B, we have the normal numbers that we are going to be dividing, the normal numbers from the decimal number system that we are going to be dividing using the long division that we learned in high school. Okay? And then C and D, we have binary numbers that we are going to divide using the long division as well. Okay? But in E and F, we also have binary numbers, but these binary numbers are having a fractional part or are decimal numbers. Okay? So without further ado, let's dive into today's lesson. So get your pens and your notebooks ready. So, for A over here, what do we do when we are asked to divide 231 divided by 7? Now you ask yourself, can 7 be divided into 2? No. So you'll have to move on here. And then you ask yourself again, can 7 be divided into 23? Yes. So how many times does 7 go into 23? It goes in 3 times. So you write the 3 on top here. Now once you write the 3 on top, you need to multiply. So you say that 3 multiplied by 7 gives you what? Gives you 21. So you write down the 21 down below here. Okay? From there you draw your line and then you subtract. What is 3 minus 1? That will be 2. And then 2 minus 2 will just cancel out. From there you go to the next column here, you bring down the 1. Then you ask yourself again, can 7 be divided into 21? Yes. How many times? 3 times. So you write the other 3 on top here. And then you take that 3 multiplied by 7. What answer do you get? You get 21. So you write it here. You draw your line. And then you bring out your subtraction sign. And then you subtract. So here you'll be getting 0. Because these will cancel out. And that's basically your answer for A. So you have a quotient of 33 and a remainder of 0. The same for B. You ask yourself, can 157 be divided into 4? No. Into 43? No. Can it be divided into 434? Yes. So how many times does 157 go into 434? It goes in 2 times. So you take that 2 and you write it on top here. And then you say 2 multiplied by 157, it gives you what? It gives you 314. So you draw your line and then you subtract. So what is 4 minus 4? That will be 0. And then you have 3 minus 1, it will be 2. And then 4 minus 3, it will be 1. Okay? From there you go to the next column, then you bring down the next number, which is a 8. Then you ask yourself, can 157 be divided into this whole number here, 1208? Yes. How many times does it go in? It goes in 7 times. So you take that 7, you multiply the 7 with 157. What answer do you get? You get 1099. Okay? So from there you draw your line and then you subtract. So you ask yourself, what is 8 minus 9? Okay, it's not possible because this number is bigger, so you need to borrow. In the next column, you have a 0, so you go to the other column here, which you have a 2. So you borrow a 1. So you cancel the 2, it will become 1, and then you borrow 1 here. So this will be 10. You cancel out, it becomes a 9, and then you borrow the 1 this side. Okay? So now we have 18 minus 9. So 18 minus 9 equals to 9. And then 9 minus 9 equals to 0. And then we have 1 minus 0 equals to 1. Okay? And then we have 1 minus 1, which will basically cancel out. So we go to the next column here, we bring out the 9, we bring it down. Then you ask yourself, can 157 be divided into this number here, which is 1099? Yes, it can. How many times does it go into this number? 7 times. Okay, then you say 7 multiplied by 157, it gives you the same number. So you draw your line and you subtract. What answer do you get? You'll get a 0 because this will cancel out. So basically, these are your answers. So the 277 is a quotient and then you have 0 as a remainder. So now this method that we used here, which is the long division that we have learned in high school, is the same method we are going to be using in the following examples. Okay? So let's take a look at C. So we have the binary numbers 111 divided by 11. So how do we deal with this? Now, especially binary division, a lot of people think or find it challenging or difficult. But if you just follow through your long division rules and you'll find it easy. Okay? So follow through. So we rewrite it just like in the previous examples. Okay? Then you ask yourself, 1, can it be divided into 1? No. Why? Because 1 is bigger than 1. Then you ask yourself again, 1, can it be divided into 1? Yes. Now, here in binary, remember in binary we only have 2 numbers, which is 1 and 0. So if a number can be divided into a certain number, on top here, we don't ask ourselves how many times. We only write a 1. Okay? If the number cannot be divided into the certain number, on top here we write 0. Okay? But in this case, 1 can be divided into 1. So on top there we write 1. So we take this 1, we multiply it by 1. What answer do we get? We get 1. So we write it down below here. We draw our line, then we bring out the subtraction sign. So then when you bring out your subtraction sign here, remember we are dealing with binary numbers. So when we are subtracting, we will use the binary subtraction rules, which are these ones. So you ask yourself, what is 1 minus 1? 1 minus 1 equals to 0. So you write down your 0. And then what is the other 1 minus 1? It's also 0, so it will cancel out there. You move to the next column and you bring down the next digit. So which is 1? You ask yourself, is 1 divisible, or can you divide 1 into 0 In this case, no. Why? Because 1 is bigger than 0 So what do you do? Remember in the beginning I told you that if a number can be divided into another number, we write what? On top here we write a 1. But if a number cannot be divided into another number, we write what? We write a 0. So in this case, when we ask ourselves, can 1 be divided into 0 The answer is no. Now if the answer is no, on top here we write a 0. Okay? So we take that 0 that we wrote down and we multiply it into 1. What's the answer? It will be 0. So we write down the 0 there. We draw out our line and then we subtract. Using our rules here, what is 1 minus 0? 1 minus 0 equals to what? It's equals to 1. Then 0 minus 0, obviously that will just be a 0. So that's our final answer. Our quotient is 1, 0 there, and then our remainder is 1. So that's up for C. Okay, that's our answer for C. Let's look at D. Now for D, here we have these 2 binary numbers again being divided. So we use the same concept. We ask ourselves, can 1001 be divided into 1? No. Can it be divided into 11? Nope. Can it be divided into 111? No. Can it be divided into 1110? Yes. So how many times does it go in? Remember in binary we don't ask that question. The moment it's yes or no, if we say yes, we just write our 1 immediately on top there. To say 1001 can be divided into 1110. Okay? So then we take that 1 that we wrote down on top there, we multiply it into 1001. What answer do we get? We get the same 1001. We write it down here. We draw our line, then we subtract. Remember, when we are subtracting, we are using what? The binary rules. Okay? So you ask yourself, what is 0 minus 1? 0 minus 1, okay, it's not possible because we need to borrow first so that we can get the answer of 1 here. So we go to the next column, we borrow a 1, and then we'll have 1 0. So 1 0 minus 1 equals to 1. Okay? So that's why we did binary subtraction first before we came to division. So if you don't know how to subtract properly, do check out the link down below in the description, which will lead you to another video that deals with binary subtraction. Okay? So we said 1 0 minus 1 equals to 1. So what is 0 minus 0? That will be 0. And then we have 1 minus 0 to be 1. Okay? Then 1 minus 1 will cancel out basically, because it will be a 0 as well. When we move to the next column here, we bring the next number down, which is 0. You ask yourself, is 1001 able to be divided into 1010? Is the answer yes or no? Because if it's yes, we will put a 1 where? On top here. If it's no, we put a 0. But in this case, it's a yes. So we put a 1. Why is it a yes? Because this number is bigger than this number. Okay? So with that said, this number that we wrote down, we multiply it again into this 1001, which will give us 1001. We draw our line and then we subtract. What is 0 minus 1? We need to borrow first. So we cancel out, because 0 minus 1, remember the rules. 0 minus 1 is what? Is equals to 1 with a borrow of 1 from the next column. So we need to borrow here, which will become a 0, and then we have 1 0. So 1 0 minus 1 equals to what? 1 0 minus 1, according to the rules, it's equals to what? It's equals to 1. So we write down the 1 there. Then 0 minus 0 is equals to 0, and then 0 minus 0 is also equals to 0. Then we have 1 minus 1, it's also a 0. Basically, it cancels out. We move on to the next column and bring the next digit down, which is 1. You ask yourself, is 1001 able to be divided into 0011? Is it a yes or a no? In this case, it's a no. Why? Because this number is bigger than this one. So what number do we put on top here when it's a no? We put a 0. Okay? Then we take that 0, we multiply it into 1001. It will just give us the 4 zeros. We draw our line and then we subtract. What is 1 minus 0? It will be 1. It is 1 minus 0. It will also just be a 1. Basically, these are all zeros and that's our final answer. Okay? So for D, our quotient is 110 and then the remainder is like 1. Okay? Let's take a look at E. Now E over here, we have like a part, which is like a fractional part. Okay? So what do we do when we have a fractional part? Or a decimal kind of number? Basically what you do is you check the second number here. And then you want to make it a whole number or integral number. How do you do this? By moving the point. So how many times are you going to move this point? Let's count. We move it 1 and then 2. Okay, so we moved it 2 times. Now the fact that you moved it 2 times here, you go to your number on the left of the division sign, on the left hand side of the division sign, and you also move it 2 times. So 1, 2. Okay, now you see with this example, we moved 2 times on the right and then we moved 2 times on the left, and then the point basically disappears after the moving. But in some cases, such as the example in F, you will see that even though we move on the right and we get a whole number on the right, on the left we will still have a decimal. Okay? But for now, let's look at E, and then we will look at F later. So we rewrite this example the same way we wrote it in the previous examples, okay? Then we start executing the same method. You ask yourself, 1, 1, 1. Is it divisible in 1? No. Can it be divided into 1, 0, 1? No. Why? Because 1, 0, 1 is still smaller than 1, 1, 1. So, can it be divided into 1, 0, 1, 0? Yes. How many times? Remember, we don't ask that question when we are dealing with binary. It's either yes or no. If it's a yes, we put a 1. Okay? If it's a no, we put a 0. Good. Now we say 1 multiplied by 1, 1, 1 will give us 1, 1, 1. We draw our line and then we subtract. Now what is 0 minus 1? 0 minus 1 is 1 with a borrow of 1 from the next column. So we'll need to borrow. So let's borrow 1, which will become the 0, and then we borrow it here. So 1, 0 minus 1 is equals to what? It's equals to 1. And then we have 0 minus 1 again. So we need to borrow. Can we borrow the next column? No, they have a 0 there, so we need to move to the next column, which is this one. To be cancelled out, it will become a 0, and then we borrow the 1 there. But remember, now we want the 1 at the next column, so we'll cancel out the 0, and then we put the 1 on top there. So 1, 0 in binary minus 1 is equals to 1. Then we have 1 minus 1 equals to 0. So basically this is also 0. Okay? So what do we do next? We bring down the number in the next column. Then we ask ourselves the same question to say, can 1, 1, 1 be divided into 0, 1, 1, 1? Yes. So if the answer is yes, we write what here? We write a 1. So we write 1. Then we take 1 multiplied by 1, 1, 1 equals to 1, 1, 1. We draw our line and then we subtract. So 1 minus 1 equals to what? It's equals to 0, and then 1 minus 1, another 0, and then 1 minus 1 is also another 0. So basically here, to just be a 0, and that's our final answer. Okay? So our quotient over there is 11, not 11, but 1, 1. And then the remainder is like 0, okay? Because remember, these are binary numbers. Let's take a look at F. Now for F over here, it's also like a fractional number or fractional numbers. So how do we deal with these numbers? Remember, we always start on the right hand side here. And then we move, we try to make this number a whole number. So how many times are we going to move? In this case, just 1. And then we know that we have 1, 1, 1 as a whole number. Now how about on the left hand side? We also just move 1s, because on the right we have moved 1s. So let's move 1s. Okay? Then we use these two numbers in the same method that we used in the previous slides. Now remember, or notice that although we made this 1, 1, 1 a whole number, this number inside here did not become like a whole number. It still has a what? A fractional part. But that is not going to stop us from solving it, okay? Or getting our answer. So let's start with the same method. Can 1, 1, 1 be divided into 1? No. Can it be divided into 1, 0? No. Can it be divided into 1, 0, 0? No. Can it be divided into 1, 0, 0, 1? Yes. So if the answer is a yes, what do? We write a 1 on top. So we can write a 1 there. Okay? Now after we write our 1 there, we say 1 multiplied by 1, 1, 1 will be 1, 1, 1. We draw our line and then we subtract. So what is 1 minus 1? That will be 0. And then 0 minus 1 is 1 with a borrow of 1 from the next column. So first we need to borrow. Can we borrow here? No. There is a 0, so we need to go to the next column, which is this one. We cancel that 1, which will become a 0, and then we borrow the 1 there. We cancel that 0, and then we borrow the 1 again there. So now here we have 1, 0 minus 1. Now remember, according to the rules, 1, 0 minus 1 is what? It's 1. Okay? And then 1 minus 1 is 0. And then this is also 0. So basically we move to the next column here to bring down the next number, which is a 0. Now you ask yourself the same question. Can 111 be divided into 100? The answer is no. So if the answer is no, what do we do? Here on top, we write a 0. And then we say 0 multiplied by 111 will be just 3 zeros. Draw your line and subtract. 0 minus 0 is 0, isn't it? And then 0 minus 0 again is also a 0. 1 minus 0 is 1. So from here, you move to the next column and you bring down the next digit, which is 0. You ask yourself again, is 111, are we able to divide that 111 into 1000? Yes. So if the answer is yes, we write down 1 here. But notice that in alignment here, we have reached the dot here. So when you write that 1 down, you put the dot. Okay? Because we cannot ignore the dot. And then you say 1, because remember we just wrote down this 1. Then you say 1 multiplied by 111 equals to 111. So we write it down here. We draw our line and then we subtract. Now here we have 0 minus 1. 0 minus 1 is equals to what? It's equals to 1 with a borrow of 1 from the next column. So we move to the next column. Can we borrow 1? No. And then again we move to the next column. Can we borrow 1? The answer is still no. So we move to the next column here. Can we borrow a 1? Yes. So we cancel it out. It becomes a 0 and we borrow a 1. Now this is 1, 0. But we need 1 in the next column. So we will also cancel the 0. Then we borrow a 1. Okay? But we also need again a 1 in the next column. So we'll cancel this 0. And then we borrow the 1 in the next column. Now that we have 1, 0, we subtract 1. And then our answer is 1. Because remember 1, 0 according to the rules, 1, 0 minus 1 equals to 1. Then we have 1 minus 1 equals to 0. And then 1 minus 1 is also 0. So basically, we just move on to the next column over here and bring down the next number, which is 1. Okay? Now ask yourself, is 111, can we divide this 111 into 011? Is the answer yes or no? In this case, it's a no. So if it's a no, what do we do always? We write down a 0. We take that 0, we multiply it into 111, we get 3 zeros. Okay? Because basically it's a 0. We draw our line and we subtract. Now in subtracting, you ask yourself, what is 1 minus 0? That will be 1. 1 minus 0, it will be 1. 0 minus 0 will just be 0. We move to the next column here. We bring down the next digit, which is 1. Ask yourself again, 111, can it be divided into this 111? Yes. If the answer is yes, we write down what here? We write down a 1. And basically, we take that 1, we multiply it into 111. What answer do we get? We get 111. So we write 111 here, we draw a line, and then we subtract. So after subtracting here, don't forget to put your subtraction sign here. And then after subtracting, we'll get a 0 because this is 111 minus 111. So it will be 0. And that basically is your final answer. Okay? So your quotient is like 101.01 and then the remainder is a 0. Okay? So thank you very much for watching this video. Please do like, subscribe, turn on that notification button to be the first to see the next upload, share with friends, family and classmates. And remember, together we rise to higher heights, apart we all stay behind. Cheers!